Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hearthstone Global Games. We've just seen Italy move through to the second stage of the competition, and now we move on to the final game of the day, the United Kingdom versus Netherlands. My name is Dan Gaskin. I've got my good friend Falcone here, and this one is definitely going to be an exciting one.
You know, I wasn't at all biased for the last one, and I won't be at all biased for this one.
I don't know how much I believe that, actually.
I believe that.
Okay, well, at least we know that RDU is probably going to be in the chat watching this one very closely, because we know Romania will be hoping the United Kingdom lose so they can keep their hopes alive of qualifying.
RDU and Green Sheep are such good friends. Why would RDU hope that the UK loses like that?
That's why, because they're 1 and 3. They just need the United Kingdom to lose one of their games against Netherlands or Peru so that they can have a chance of qualifying. For the Netherlands, if they win today, they also will guarantee that qualification. They will join the United States at the top of this group. So still plenty to play for.
This is going to be such a great series. Again, we both had the pleasure, actually, of hanging out with Green Sheep last weekend at the ESL UK Premiership Finals, which he ultimately won the whole thing. He's going to come into this feeling very, very confident. On the other side of things, there's Tice, Tyler, Mitsuhide, Theo, very, very well-known players there.
Yeah, a lot of well-known players on the Netherlands side. A lot of well-known players on the UK side in terms of in UK Hearthstone. They're also starting to put their footprint on global Hearthstone as well. You're quite right, though. A big win for Green Sheep in a UK tournament. What was massive for him is he's always been known as this aggressive player.
Yeah.
He brought a complete control lineup and just surprised the rest of the competition. Maybe we'll see something like that today.
It's funny because we talked a lot about how another UK player, Duncan, flourishes in a control meta. And the meta was, you know, perfect because it was more control-y generally, and it suited him just right. Green Sheep obviously able to adapt and survive and win the whole thing. We didn't yet mention Jean-Bray, captain of the team United Kingdom. Green Sheep, oh sorry, not Green Sheep, we did mention Green Sheep. George C, the anchor, the calm, collected guy that wins all the HCT points. And finally, Wacky Jackie.
Wacky Jackie indeed. Now you know what it is. It's fact time. Apparently, Dan, Dutch adults like to put sprinkles, you know, like the ones that children put on ice cream. They like to put them on toast, Dan.
Sounds really tasty to me.
Sprinkles on toast apparently is a big thing in Netherlands. Maybe I'll ask someone later.
I want that right now.
Apparently, though, the British drink around 165 million cups of tea a day.
That's just not true. I don't drink that much. I don't actually drink tea, do you?
Well, I'm not talking about per person. No one could drink that much a day.
Well.
But apparently it's 20 times as much as Americans drink.
I've seen how much Neil drinks.
He drinks a lot of tea.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that played to the character quite well of British people, because everyone thinks we drink cups of tea. So apparently we do.
Do you drink tea?
I love tea.
Do you?
Tea is great.
I don't drink tea. I don't watch football. I'm really just a bad Brit.
Sometimes I wonder what you do, Dan.
Did you say doo-doo?
I did say doo-doo. So, we spoke about Green Sheep and how he brought something to surprise the competition. I wonder whether we'll see the same from George C, the man who has been playing, of course, Freeze Mage, a lot of Freeze Mage. Maybe we'll see him pull a fast one and try and surprise his opposition. But first game of the day is going to be Jean-Bray versus Mitsuhide. And you can see the rest of the class is brought by everyone. It is a best-of-5 format, and every class is brought by both countries.
Now, Mitsuhide, having an okay day so far. I caught him on Twitter wishing Chinoy's luck earlier. I think they stream for the same stream team, or they're linked in some way. And Chinoy's managed to win that game. So Mitsuhide going to come in thinking, you know, the team I wanted to win earlier won. Now it's our turn to win.
Maybe he'll get the luck. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe he'll get
stream luck.
A little bit of his own luck back. Chinoy's going to just wish his luck back there.
But Chinoy's didn't actually play, so...
That's true. This is true.
So
he was the 4th player in the team 3-0'd, so yeah, there was no need for Chinoy's to play.
So Druid versus Paladin. Unsurprising that Jean-Bray is playing Paladin, not just because he has the Warlock as his second class, but because Jean-Bray has always been known as a Paladin player. Made the Egg Paladin extremely famous, and he knows how to pilot Paladin very well.
Do you not have any facts about the UK and eggs?
No, I don't.
We got Egg Paladin, we got Egg Druid. We just really like our egg decks over here.
Jean-Bray, the only one who got a win last time we saw the United Kingdom outing in global games as well. The rest of his team did lose, but he was able to get the W, so he was feeling personally good. United Kingdom, though, they really need to get that second win on the board if they want to be moving forward to Stage 2. At the moment, they could fall down that ladder, and as Romania are just waiting, biting, snapping at the heels, waiting for United Kingdom to slip up.
It's going to be tough as well. Netherlands being one of the best teams, I think, or one of the most well-known teams in the Hearthstone Global Games. The names, the kind of key names that get thrown around a lot. Tice, we'll talk about him a little bit more later. Tice is well known for both winning everything and having a hugely successful stream. We've got Tyler, who, again, Sotul was saying, Sotul's made a big thing about saying how we call a lot of players ladder gods, but Tyler is actually a ladder god, often being rank 1 legend on all 3 servers in one day. Just Team Netherlands is so strong. And Mitsuhide going to start off nice and solid with this aggressive Druid.
It's an aggressive Druid that has a Hungry Crab in, Dan. And
yeah,
that's usually pretty good going up against Paladin.
seems well placed in this matchup for certain. I remember, I think it was last month? No, it must have been right at the start of this month. Token Druid was the deck I climbed to Legend with, and part of the reason for that is that I ran 2 Hungry Crabs and there were Paladins dominating everywhere. This is exactly the matchup I wanted to see when I was in Mitsuhide's shoes, and
Jumbray's already praying. He's already hoping. He's saying, please no Hungry Crab. Because Hungry Crab is a very popular card in Aggro Druid at the moment. Not just because of the sudden appearance of loads of Murlocs, but it's also a beast. It synergizes well with Mark of Yasiraj.
the thing that Mitsuhide does not have going for him is the fact that he's got patches in hand. He's got Direwolf Alpha, which is fine. Coin Innovate, he can play everything right now if he wants to. Well, everything short of 1 card. But then he's got nothing to fall back on. He's not buffing his hand with Mark of the Lotus or Power of the World or something that can really push the value there. He's just going to kind of play everything and then run out of stuff.
But he's going to play a Hungry Crab, and that'll be a 3/4 on the board.
It's better than a Totem Golem.
Yeah, it's pretty solid, a 1-mana 3/4, and Jumbray can only respond with just a naked Rockpool Hunter. And now Jumbray realizes the pain train might start rolling for Mitsuhide. And as you said, using all of his mana just to get as much as he can on the board and really put the pressure onto Jumbray here.
Even if Mitsuhide can just pick up a Mark of Yasiraj, just to push his hand a little bit further, buff some stuff up, draw some stuff, that would be great. Though, I might be overreacting to Mitsuhide's hand. As you say, he has this incredible board, and Jumbray does not have all that much to come back with. He's got Rockpool Hunter, which just dies again to the crab. He's got Argent Squire, and that's that.
I mean, I guess he does have Rallying Blade, which helps. The reason why people are putting Rallying Blade rather than True Silver, as we heard from an interview previous, is just it's better against aggro, getting that out on turn 3 rather than having to wait for turn 4 to deal with it. There's the Mark of Yasiraj that you were saying would have been lovely.
What did I say? I said that would be lovely, didn't I?
That's happened far too many times today, actually.
It's Caster's Curse. I'm very good at calling cards.
Opting to buff up the Direwolf as well, and there's a Mark of the Lotus to follow up with the next turn. Netherlands looking in such a good position. Jumbray may have got the W last week when his teammates failed to get it, but he is staring down a very ugly barrel at the moment.
I just don't know how he comes back from that. Like, Rallying Blade, that's great. He can get rid of the crab. The Direwolf Alpha's still going to run wild. Blood Cell, Corsair, Mark of the Lotus can both come down next turn. He's just got no way of getting a foot back onto this board and stabilizing it. Sunkeeper Tarim is no good when your opponent has a board. It's even playable if your opponent only has 2 minions, but we're never going to be in that position. Mitsuhide is just going to keep pressuring, and Jumbray can't do anything about it.
Now all he can really do is play Rallying Blade, take out this crab, and just see 6 power on the board, but that 6 is swiftly going to turn into more, depending on what Netherlands draw as well. Just shove a Fledgling. I guess you wouldn't. I'm thinking Corsair, too much value. You have Mark of the Lotus to follow up as well. Get rid of that Rallying Blade. Then Jumbray literally is left with just playing Argent Squire and duding up.
Yeah, if not for the Rallying Blade, you're right. I think Vicious Fledgling would be an instant play, but the fact that the Corsair not only destroys it, but then gets himself buffed up again, there is now 11 damage on the board, ready to go next turn. Jumbray has 10 health. There is nothing he can do. This game was over before it even started. It's turn 4. Jumbray's going to concede because Mitsuhide has lethal anyway. That is the fastest game of Hearthstone I think we've had all week.
Well, at least Jumbray can have a little giggle about it. He knows that sometimes that does happen. It just goes out of control, and that is the swing that Hungry Crab can provide as well. We've seen Jambray be in positions where he can just steamroll out of control with his aggro decks, but this time on the receiving end.
Yeah, it was just I blinked and missed it. Honestly,
Did you?
we've had
to recap you.
Yeah, please.
All right, basically what happened, Hungry Crab was played, and then he won the game because of it.
That's everything I need to know. That is everything I need to know. Next up, though, it's going to be Tyler on the Rogue versus George. What? Wait, what?
Okay, so George C, he's thrown a spanner into the works. He said, well, everyone thinks I'm going to be bringing Mage, so actually, I'm going to play Warrior here.
You know what it is? He doesn't want me to cast him playing Mage again, that's why.
I think everyone has kind of said, oh, the United Kingdom will probably lose because George C keeps playing Freeze Mage. It's become a little bit of a joke right now. Freeze Mage, of course, he pilots it very well. Freeze Mage can be a very successful deck, but it just hasn't seen the success in the global games that perhaps some people might have thought originally. So instead, he's going to go for something a little bit more solid, and he is going to go for the Warrior. Now, it's going to be Rogue versus Warrior. Do you think they've queued the Rogue expecting to be facing Mage, though?
Oh man, it's just so complicated. They've queued the Warrior expecting... Sorry, so George has queued the Warrior expecting to counter whatever Tyler wanted to play, which he would have queued, yeah, I think expecting the Mage. Would have been a safe bet, but if one of Tyler's decks was significantly unfavored against the Warrior, I think they would have still kind of played around that. So it's fine, you know, depending on the Rogue, which I expect to be Quest, depending on the Warrior, which I expect to be Quest, I think the Rogue's probably going to end up being favored regardless of George's bait and switch.
I think George has baited us into a Pirate Warrior. I think he's gone and said, I'm going to bring Mage. That might encourage them to bring something like a Quest Rogue. They bring a Quest Rogue, and my alternative is something that just beats it down far too quickly that they can't keep up with.
Right.
That will remain to be seen if he has done the old bait and switch. A very intelligent play, as we were talking about in the previous segment. The fact that Green Sheep did it at a big tournament, maybe he would have helped encourage George C do it as well.
And bait and switch is the only way we ever see Warlock in the Hearthstone Global Games anyway. We haven't seen a single Warlock represented this week at all. At all. So that's the only way it's going to happen. Tyler, I expect fully to be playing the Quest Rogue. Yep, there it is. I've seen him playing Quest Rogue a lot on his stream. If you want to learn that deck, go find some VODs. There are tens and tens and tens of hours of him climbing with that deck on High Legend. Watching Tyler is a great way to learn how to play the game. And hey, that's a Pirate Warrior. There's some pirates.
Yep, plan has gone well for George. Of course, the Quest Rogue can beat Pirate Warrior. It's not favoured. The Pirate Warrior, without a doubt, has a better matchup here. Anything with aggression can just beat down the Quest Rogue. But the Quest Rogue, if they could just get that quest completed nice and early on, start putting some Balfin Tidehunters on the board, for example, as 5/5s, it suddenly gets very difficult for the aggro.
I think if anyone can win this matchup, though, it's going to be Tyler playing as the Quest Rogue. He was one of the first players, I believe, that tried out Zixo's new revolutionary tech of the Tolvir Stone Shaper way back when that started. He's practiced a lot against aggro, he's practiced a lot against control, he's just practiced this deck a lot, and he will be able to see the line, I think, to take this one away. Shadow Step, definitely not a bad card to start with, and Sussy Deckhand is pretty good at putting a stop to the early aggro turns.
Yeah, Shadow Step is really going to help. I mean, we've seen a lot of Quest Rogue today, and actually a lot of the Quest Rogue was struggling to get that bounce back early on. We've not seen any ridiculous turn 4 completions, but they have both been mirror matches. Now, George will have the likes of Green Sheep behind him to help out with aggro matchups. Of course, George will be more than capable of piloting them himself.
But Dan, Green Sheep is a control player. You're getting confused.
Yeah, Green Sheep. But the fact that he knows how to pilot aggro decks so successfully, that's always going to help to have that person behind you, just giving you a little bit of reassurance when you want to go for a certain play.
Right. Now, Tyler already trying to work out what he wants to do here. Going to just develop the Firefly. I'm going to play that as well. That means he has to Shadow Step something, I think, unless he's just... Okay, I stand corrected. Tyler has decided that to win this game, he is going to need to play for board. That makes a lot of sense. He's going to need to be able to trade away this 5/3 Blood Cell Raider that's coming down. Patch is also going to appear, but not going to do too much damage on his own.
And of course, you kill the Firefly as well, rather than the Elemental, just because of a bounce back effect. It's going to provide more minions. I think that's easy to say. And there is a Leroy Jenkins as well in that deck.
Yeah, now this play of Tyler's last turn did set him up to now just dagger up, play the deckhand, make the trades, and actually clear the entire board, which is a pretty good way to start. Although, once again, Tyler surprises me with his play. Going to go with Igneous Elemental. Looks like as soon as that got picked up, he realized, hey, I can probably complete this quest quite fast. One Shadow Step is all it's going to take.
Yeah, he will be able to complete this quest very quickly, and that will be somewhat worrying for George, who will have to make a decision of, when do I just start going face here? When do I start ignoring these minions? Because I do have damage in hand, I've got Reaper, I've got Upgrade, and I have the Leroy.
This is arguably quite a punish for Tyler, though, with the Blood Cell Cultist buffing the weapon because the Raider was left alive. However, Tyler, he's seen the line. The line is complete the quest as fast as possible, then play the deck hand, pull patches from the deck, and really get the aggression back. And in fact, Igneous Elemental eating up Fiery War Axe is very good for Tyler because it means he can go ahead and complete the quest right now, and it soaked up some damage. Next turn, I think it's almost definitely going to be double Flame Elemental plus Shadow Step plus play it again. Or he can play the Shadow Step and then play it again along with the quest next turn. Hungry Crab not going to do an awful lot in this matchup. Unfortunately, it's not quite the same as against the Paladin.
Yeah, you might have to save it for that following turn, as you said, when the quest is played, play that 0 mana 5/5, just so that George C doesn't have the option of just clearing off those pesky 1/2s and getting rid of them comfortably. Instead, make him answer a 5/5 instead. Because otherwise, your turn 5 is just playing the quest, and it might be onto an empty board, and you're just giving the Pirate Warrior more time.
I can't help but wonder if Team Netherlands have put Hungry Crab in all of their decks, or most of their decks, just to guarantee the win against Paladin when it comes up.
Well, they knew that Jambray would most likely bring it. That's a good read there.
And what they can do is they can put Hungry Crab in half of their decks, pair them up with decks that don't have Hungry Crabs, and then just play the deck with the Hungry Crab 100% of the time when you're against Paladin.
Yep. It does work, and to be honest, a lot of people are just playing Hungry Crab in most decks anyway because of the amount of Murlocs that are around.
Okay, Tyler actually going to go ahead, go as wide as possible, develop this board. Again, going to drop Hungry Crab. Next turn, the Crystal Core is coming out. Patches this turn as well. He didn't get the attack in. But how does George deal with all of this?
Yeah, this is the problem for George. He can't afford to just go face, of course, because of the amount of damage that's already on board.
But with the board he has at the moment, he can only deal with 3 out of the 6 minions. That means that 3 of these minions are going to have 5 attack coming up next turn. That's 15 damage. Not going to be enough to beat George just yet, but going to be enough to make some good trades.
Can he deal with 2 of these charge minions and set up for lethal next turn? I'm going to presume the answer is no, which is a shame. Really, you have to get rid of patches and you have to get rid of the deck hand. You don't want those bounce back effects biting you in the bottom, so you need to get rid of them. If he chooses to ignore them, he's just flat out dead.
Yeah, no, you're right. Of the cards that need to be traded, the Flame Elemental is the lowest priority. The Crab isn't a high priority either. Really taking his time here, George C. Gonna have to just go ahead and make the play very soon. Blood Cell Raider gonna come down, gonna trade away nicely with any 5 attack minions that come charging in.
He's running out of time as well. Not really sure what he wants to trade with, but he does need to get rid of those charge minions, in my opinion.
It's unfortunate that he's actually didn't get rid of patches. I think that's a mistake there, though. I want to hesitate before I say that about a George C play, as I was completely wrong last time.
I mean, you'd only be worried about a double Shadow Step, and they've seen one Shadow Step already, so I guess it's not too much of a problem for them. They are presuming that maybe patches trades here for the Netherlands. But he was running out of time, so the decision had to be made quickly.
The unfortunate thing for George C here is that he's got an Arcanite Reaper in hand, but he's already got a bigger Arcanite Reaper on the board. It doesn't look like he's going to... There's no point in playing the Arcanite Reaper in hand anytime soon. Leroy would be an option, but the Crystal Core actually buffs the Whelps up to 5/5s as well. So Leroy is not an option until lethal. That means George's hand is dead from this point on until he just wins the game. Tyler looks like well, I imagine he's going to trade the patches into the Blood Cell Cultist and trade the other 2 minions in. He can play the value game.
Yeah, luckily for George, he does have quite a threatening board.
Oh. So.
Wow, that's very risky.
7, yeah, so it's 20, I think it's just 1 off lethal, isn't it? 17 damage on board, Leroy 6, that's 23.
saving grace for Tyler is he does have a Mimic Pod. He has got a chance to refuel here, but George needs to trade. Okay, he can armor up, and then he puts himself out of range of this Stone Tusk Boar. However, if we see any sort of bounce back effect, it is just a flat-out win for the Netherlands.
Preparation into Mimic Pod's not bad at all.
Any bounce back, any charge. There you have it. Unfortunately, the Ferryman will just put the nail in the coffin against the United Kingdom here in the second game, and Netherlands going to go 2-0 up. George C not bringing his Mage, trying to bait and switch. It looked like he had been successful getting the Pirate Warrior against the Quest Rogue, but Tyler completing it quick enough to go 2-0 up for his team.
I mean, I said to you earlier, if anyone's able to win this matchup, it's going to be Tyler, an absolute expert with that deck, and that was a masterclass of how to play it against the aggressive matchup. That was incredible to watch. I'd like to root for my home team, but you can't argue with Hearthstone like that.
You already did. Italy already won. It's okay. But we saw him leave one off lethal on the board. So Tyler had clearly calculated that with his team, and he'd said, what's the max damage that he can do next turn if he's got Leroy in hand, for example? And a really brave decision, but well...
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there was anything he didn't play around. Double Heroic Strike would have been a possibility, as there were 2 cards in hand. Though, I suppose, in order to set up the lethal for the next turn, they decided they're happy to play around the one biggest amount of damage they could have, but they're not willing to play around the Double Heroic Strike, because that's just too unlikely.
Well, unfortunately, the United Kingdom 0 and 2 down, and now it rests on Jackie Chan with his Priest to try and reel this one back in. Jackie Chan, of course, known for his exciting, kind of spunky decks, and now he's going to be playing Priest. I guess the fact that Silence Priest exists, that's something that maybe Jackie could play excitingly.
I'm a huge fan of Jackie Chan, Dan. Again, former teammates with him, good friends with him as well. We talk quite often. He's just got this great personality, right? He made the rap video to get people to vote for him into the Hearthstone Global Games, and that video just sort of showed all that he was about. He's about fun. He said in the rap video he'd rather not win the game with a Leroy on turn 6. He'd rather have some fun.
George C would have.
George C would have rather, yeah. I think there's probably been some reigning Jackie in there. But I'm just a great fan of Jackie, his decks, and his personality. I think he's a great Hearthstone player, and I don't even want to try and predict what this Priest could be.
I mean, he's going up against Theo as well. I saw on Twitter Theo is going for top 50 Wild and Standard this month. I mean, that is a lot of dedication. And on top of already your prior commitments of global games, you are trying to get top 50 in both formats.
He's not the only one as well. There are a few other players that I've been looking up throughout the day who have been tweeting that, yep, currently this rank in Wild, hope it holds, now time to move on to Standard, whilst also having to prepare for the Hearthstone Global Games. Going back to our first game of the series, or first series today rather, Game King was saying, he's pretty much going to have played a solid 30 hours of Hearthstone. And that's a lot of Hearthstone, and that's a lot of dedication, and that's the dedication that you need if you want to try and be one of the top players in the world.
I mean, that is a lot of Hearthstone, and I think we've all been there. We've played that much, but when you're doing that before a tournament as well, that is just going to be... Ugh.
I think he said he had like a 3-hour nap before the tournament this morning.
Wow.
But not including that 3 hours, it's been a 30-hour stint of Hearthstone.
Here we go then. Potentially the final game of the series and final game of the day if Theo can take this one. Looks like he's playing the Secret Mage, and Jackie Chan, well, I can't even call what Priest this is going to be, but it does have a Blade Master.
Priest is what I'm going to go with. It could still be Silence Priest, I guess. Binding Heal is a card that synergizes very well with Injured Blade Master, as does Circle of Healing, obviously, as it always has done. I kind of want to say Classic Priest.
Yeah, just like a classic Control Priest, potentially, included with Shadow Visions as well. Something a little bit different, maybe something that's going to surprise your opposition.
There was a semi-popular Priest deck that appeared immediately after One Night of Karazhan came out, which had Resurrection and Onyx Bishop, and Injured Blade Master has great synergy with those cards. Only Resurrection's no longer in standard format anymore, so it would just be Onyx Bishop now, which is less synergy just on its own. Jackie having a good laugh there, again, enjoying the game as he always does. Let's see how this one goes.
So Jackie, across the global games in general, has pretty much played on meta decks. I wouldn't have say he's played anything that's been too bizarre. Nothing that's really made me go, oh wow, look at this guy. I mean, he's playing his meme decks. No, he's been playing solid decks. He's been getting decent or relatively decent results as well. But the United Kingdom now staring at possibly being 1 and 3 in the table if they do lose this one. And a Circle of Healing, yeah, this is just bringing back flashbacks of where Priest was at when it was just that kind of classic control Priest.
This is a Priest hand from pre-Naxxramas, actually. Northshire Cleric, Coin, Injured Blade Master, Circle of Healing, as the first couple of turns is something that those of you that were with me playing this game way back when it had only just released will have had some nightmares about in the past.
Oh yeah, I remember it.
But it's very enjoyable being on that side of things. Imagine a turn 2, 4/7 minion. Them stats.
And I mean, if you are running the Divine Spirit in a fire combo as well, I mean, a 4/7 on the board at turn 3 is always going to be nice that you don't have to silence.
Now, Theo going to have to work out if he wants to Frostbolt away this Northshire Cleric. I think Primordial Glyph is probably more tempting than again if he's suspicious that Jackie will be running cards like Powered Shield and Divine. Yeah, okay, he's going to just go ahead and Frostbolt it.
I just get rid of it every day of the week. I don't like leaving anything on the board, especially with the current state that Priest is in at the moment.
How greedy can Jackie afford to be with these Injured Blade Masters, especially now that he's just seen a Frostbolt on the other side of the board? There's a chance he may just play the first Blade Master and then just wait. Assuming that there's no Frostbolt there, you then play the second one, then play the Circle. That could be devastating for Theo, though it's not because there is a second Frostbolt there sitting pretty in Theo's hand.
Yeah, but now Jackie knows that both Frost mods have gone.
There
is a little bit of an eye roll, as you said, like, oh my, I can't believe he had it, but at least now he can still do it on the turn 3 if he wants to here.
There are some cards from expansions in this deck, apparently. I know that we saw Shadow Visions in the pre-Mulligan hand. Priest of the Feast came from One Night at Karazhan. Though Injured Blade Master Circle of Healing looks like the obvious play to me.
Yeah, I guess why not? I mean, I suppose you've seen both Frostbolts, so you could go for Acolyte if you prefer. You're not too worried about board presence in this situation. It depends what he thinks he's playing against, because at the moment he has no idea.
The main downside to playing the Injured Blade Master Circle of Healing, I think, is that he's missed out on this Northshire Cleric card draw. Like, the value that he's going to get from this play has reduced over time. Originally, he was thinking, you know, Northshire Cleric, Coin, Blade Master Circle, I get the heal up, I get the card draw, great. But then that plan went kaput. Then he thought, okay, great, second Injured Blade Master. I'll play the first one, then play the second one, then heal them both. Value. Nope, now that plan's gone. And now Jackie has to decide if just playing the Circle and the Blade Master alone is good enough. He decides, no, it's not, and does go with the Acolyte.
No secret for the Kirin Tor Mage to get any value out, so an awkward situation for the Netherlands. They've used both of their Frostbolts to remove the early presence of Jackie Chan, but now you can either just play a 4-3 as it is, or you can just start searching for other options with the glyphs.
Usually I would just go straight for the glyphs here, I think. However, 4-3s are quite tempting against Priest.
Don't you do it. Don't you say it.
I'm stopping right there.
Okay.
I'm not going to go any further.
I'll get the Priest swear jar out.
I've committed that crime too many times today.
Okay, I'll put it away.
Okay. Phew. I was running out of money.
I think I do like just playing Kirin Tor Mage here. I mean, I can see what Jackie Chan's hand looks like, so I guess it's easier for me to say that. But at some point, Netherlands need to gain some steam. They need to gain a little bit of pressure. How patient can they be?
Both teams here taking their time. Again, don't forget, this is a team competition. Every single series we're watching, the teams are communicating with each other. That's why you see the rope burning a lot in the Hearthstone Global Games. It's not just individual players taking a long time to think, it's teams discussing and taking a while to come to an agreement on what the correct play is.
Of course, it does help having extra voices in your head. Sometimes actually it goes against you, but most of the time it seems like just having that second player or third player just to give you a little bit of reassurance will help you out in the global games. Of course, Babylon Book did come out for Netherlands. They did have the option to play it because of the mana, but you don't want to give away free card draw to the Acolytes. That's why they didn't play it. And now for Jackie Chan, you've got two options. You can either Blade Master, Circle of Healing, Powered Shield, or you could just Priest of the Feast and get a body. Always start with Power of the Shield.
Against Mage, you definitely want to hold on to Priest of the Feast for as long as possible. It can just be a win condition. If a surprise Alexstrasza comes down, then all right, great. Priest of the Feast, Powered Shield, Shadow Visions, you know, Shadow of Death, whatever. Just heal yourself back up again. This play seems very solid to me. I like it. Buffing the Acolyte, so it's likely to get at least 2 more draws. Buffing the Blade Master, so it was a 3-mana 4/7. Jackie looks happy, and quite rightly so. This board is going to take a lot for Theo to deal with, and Theo looks quite confused to me.
There was a few eyebrow raises when the first Blade Master came on the board. He was like, huh, okay, well, this is something a little bit different. We can see the Inner Fire for Jackie, though, so it does have that Inner Fire Divine Spirit combo. Might just be one copy of both. Sometimes when we see that combo being thrown into more classic decks, it is just the one copy. It does mean he could go aggressive next turn if he wanted to, Jackie. Could Priest of the Feast and Inner Fire his Blade Master, or Inner Fire his Acolyte if he wanted to get even more pressure and even more card draw, potentially.
Yeah, Jackie is finding the situation hilarious. Theo, not so much, as he's trying to piece together this turn. Arcanologist to grab a secret plus Kirin to a Mage to then play the secret for free does seem very tempting. Mana Worm plus Babbling Book plus Kirin to a Mage is the widest minion board he could come up with. Going to start with the Mana Worm and very quickly go for this Discover. Not long to make this decision.
At least he's found some secrets to pick up for the Kirin tool in the following turn. Flame Strike is the decision, though. Wants to have that board clear, have that removal, but is there going to be anything with 4 health on the side of the United Kingdom? A clear advantage for Jackie by playing something a little bit different. I mean, realistically, in playtesting for the Netherlands, how much would they have played this matchup? I'm going to guess about 0.
Approximately 0, yeah. Maybe 0.5, if that's possible.
Yeah, maybe there was a suggestion. Should we play against Classic? No.
So Jackie actually full of options here. He can play Inner Fire on the Acolyte now, make the trade, heal up the Acolyte, and get a card draw from it. He could just use the Shadowwood Pain to cleanly get rid of the Mana Worm, but I've got to admit, I do like using the Acolyte to dig through the deck a little bit more. Radiant Elemental can come down pretty much for free this turn, I think. Lots of options for Jackie. Alternatively, Injured Blade Master can just trade in, and the Acolyte can go face, and then the heal up can go back for the Blade Master. I've got to admit, I do like drawing cards. Generally in Hearthstone, drawing cards is a good thing.
His hand is getting a little bit thin, so drawing cards makes a lot of sense. It does mean that he will be looking at the Acolyte being taken out by this Flame Strike, or at least he was until that Power Word Shield came out. He won't know that there's a Flame Strike, but it is something that he will be taking into consideration, that's for sure. Always something you need to consider, and actually now he can play the Cleric so quickly off the top and get some value out of healing as well. So a very good turn for Jackie in the end.
Yeah, the card that Jackie's going to have been thinking about playing around the most there is actually Meteor as we go into turn 6 for the Mage. Jackie's still not entirely sure which type of Mage this is. He hasn't seen a relevant secret yet. He hasn't seen Kirin to a Mage. Could be Discover, could be Secret. In fact, because of how slow the start has been, Jackie's probably expecting it to be Discover Mage rather than the Secret Mage. Babbling Book may change things though, as Freezing Potion comes off the top, not the most relevant card at all. Flame Strike does seem like the only play available to Theo here that does anything. And getting rid of the Acolyte and the Miltia Cleric does put a stop to Jackie's rampant card drawing.
It does, but it keeps Jackie in a decent spot. He now knows he's against Secret Mage as well, and he has, well, just so much board presence, and he has the tempo against a deck which needs tempo to win, really.
Just imagining how insane Jackie's hand would be if he had a Lyra right now. If he can somehow keep that Radiant Elemental alive and hold on to the second one. If he draws Lyra, then that's just game over. Going to go ahead and consider playing Priest of the Feast. Not going to drop it just yet. There will be a second one in the deck somewhere, so he may decide that he's in a pretty solid position. If it is Secret Mage, again, wouldn't say it's 100% at this point. The only real indicator he's had is Babbling Book. But if it is Secret Mage, there's unlikely to be at Alexstrasza. Therefore, the Priest of the Feast is going to be less important later.
Yeah, I think the 3/6 body is extremely significant here, just to put pressure on Theo. I mean, even if he does think this is some weird Discover Mage and just thinks the Babbling Book's been added to it rather than the Secret Mage, I just think the 3/6 is too juicy not to put on the board.
Pretty juicy stat line, actually. Just looking at Priest of the Feast as a 4-mana 3/6, it matches Water Elemental in stats, and Twilight Guardian, apart from the fact it doesn't have Taunt, it's just a very, very solid minion. Second Babbling Book there gets picked up by Theo. Fireland's Portal must be a temptation, but he's only going to be dealing with the Radiant Elemental or the Injured Blade Master with it. think he has to go for the book.
Yeah, alternatively, you could do what? Kirin Tor plus Vaporize. You only reduce it by 1, but you could play Arcanologist first if you would rather get full value. So you could Kirin Tor, Arcanologist, and Vaporize. And that seems like playing a little bit more.
If he does
get back in this.
If he does go for that play, there's still enough mana to squeeze in the Babbling Book, so I don't know why he wouldn't start with that. Going to opt for the Firelands Portal instead. This is the second Tundra Rhino today, I think, in a row we've seen for Firelands Portals, as me and Neil saw one earlier. And it worked out very nicely here, getting rid of both of the minions that Theo were considering dealing with. We're going to freeze the Priest of the Feast, and now Theo has got his foot in the door for this game.
And if there was like a Lyra in Jackie's hand, or if he had drawn, that would have been such a big summon as well, getting that Tundra Rhino and getting rid of that first elemental. Now Jackie's in this awkward situation where, yes, okay, he had a great start, but where does he go from here? He's slowly running out of options, doesn't have that card draw potential anymore either.
I think he's just going to have to go ahead and play Shadowword Pain on this Tundra Rhino, honestly. Potion of Madness would be so tempting if it actually did anything relevant. If he could trade this into another minion, it would be huge, but unfortunately, not going to happen this turn. Shadowword Pain on its own just doesn't seem like a strong enough move, but what else does Jackie do? He could develop Wild Pyromancer, but that doesn't really make a difference. He could play Divine Spirit on the Priest of the Feast, but then it could get hit by a Polymorph. There are so many concerns that Team United Kingdom are going to have to think about.
Yeah, the best for me just looks like Shadowword Pain, Radiant Elemental, and then just pass. But I mean, even using the Radiant Elemental might be a little bit risky because you want to save that for later. Instead, looks like Jackie is just going to push this up to a 3-12 and say, all right, well, you're going to have something to worry about. If I can't play anything, let's make you make the decisions.
Well, for now, he's going to be slightly rewarded for that play. There's no way that Theo can remove it just yet. He's got the Vaporize, which if Jackie was to fall for would be a disaster. But that's all in Jackie's hands. There's no clear-cut way that Theo can deal with this just yet. I think this turn he does start with the Babbling Book. I'm running out of reasons for him to not play it. Yep.
100%. You want to cast a spell. Flame Gazer, not really going to help too much, but that is more burn potential for the Netherlands, so they won't be complaining too much.
Yeah, I think it's just one of the worst Mage spells. Just full stop there. Theo can fit in Kirin Tor Mage plus Mirror Entity plus Flame Gazer if he wants to.
Why is Jackie now just suddenly sat? I don't know if you saw that. Jackie was stood up, he then pointed down, he sat down and his webcam just slowly followed him. It was very interesting. I'm sorry that you missed it.
It's just a high-tech webcam.
Why was he stood up in the first place? Obviously pretty pumped about the situation.
I think Jackie stands up quite a lot on his stream. It can be an energy thing. A lot of people say that you have more energy and you're able to speak with more energy if you're standing up. I know that's a thing for acting. I remember that when I was at school.
Thing for casting as well.
Yeah, right.
Very important.
We're sitting down right now, but you never know. When we're off cam, we could be doing anything.
I mean, if it was like two aggro players going toe-to-toe and there was turn after turn, I think I'd stand up.
Sure.
I'd be bellowing those calls.
Bellowing.
Yeah.
Good word.
Thanks, mate.
Good word.
Circle of Healing, not really too helpful in this situation.
Priest of the Feast can make a nice trade into the Kirin Tor Mage. 2 secrets there, don't forget Mirror Entity and Vaporize.
So I guess there is a way to clear the board if Jackie does want to, using Shadowword Pain, Pyromancer, Potion of Madness, and then Circle of Healing, get himself back up. So then that's his whole hand depleted.
The problem Jackie's facing is that he's going to be expecting Counterspell and Mirror Entity, not Vaporize Mirror Entity. Because if he was expecting Mirror Entity and something that will let his spells go off, he'd do exactly this. Play the Pyromancer, give his opponent a copy of it, Potion of Madness, the 2/3, or the Kodo we saw earlier, and then make the trade here. This works very nicely.
So Jackie just keeping the board here, and now he asked the questions of Netherlands, well, what else have you got? What else have you got in the tank? That was a pretty big turn from you. We need to see more.
So Kirin Tor Mage plus Flame Geyser will plus the Secret, obviously, will get rid of the Pyromancer and develop a pretty nice board of Theo's own. Unfortunately, Fireball isn't going to be enough to deal with Priest of the Feast, even with a hero power. So he has to consider Fireball plus Flame Geyser on the Priest at the Feast, but this trade is just a little bit too tasty.
We're going to be in a situation where both of these players are going to be running out of cards, and Theo actually opting to play the Secret Bear, not playing the Kirin Tor Mage, knowing that it would just be an easy trade for Jackie, but this way, Jackie might fall into the Vaporize trap.
Now the guessing game begins as if Jackie knew that was a counterspell, maybe he'd feel comfortable just dropping Circle of Healing. At the same time, if it turns out it's not a counterspell, he doesn't just want to waste Circle of Healing for no reason. He knows it's not Mirror Entity, it could still be Barrier, Block, Spellbender. What else is there? There's another one, I'm sure there's another one.
Vaporize.
Vaporize, which there is
The one,
Vaporize.
yeah. That'll be what he's thinking now. Is it worth me attacking in and finding out, or do I just wait? I can be a little bit more patient, and perhaps next turn I can use the Radiant Elemental, for example, to test for the Vaporize. I don't think it's worth taking the risk. This is potentially one of his win conditions. If he does have another Divine Spirit and another Inner Fire, he really needs to keep this Priest of the Feast alive.
It's pretty complicated at this point. Two secrets, one could be a counterspell. One's a Vaporize, as Jackie's about to find out. He doesn't look happy. Well, he always looks happy, but there was a kind of shocked expression on his face for a moment.
And the signature Jackie laugh as well, followed up.
Wish we had a recording of that. Little
Yeah, if you've not heard Jackie Chan's laugh, it is quite contagious. Similarly to Ben Brode's, to be honest. A very different kind of laugh, but similar in that it is quite contagious. There's a Spellbender as well. I mean, Lorinda's been telling me an interesting fact about Secret Mage, that those that do run Spellbender and have it in their opening hand have the best win percentage.
A lot of that will be just because of how prominent Paladins are, and Spellbender is so strong against Paladin. It's not bad against Priest. It can block an Inner Fire, a Divine Spirit, a Powered Shield. Both Powered Shields have been used, though. There should probably still be an Inner Fire and a Divine Spirit that could block. But even if it blocks Shadow Word Pain or Death, that's very, very powerful. Jackie's actually out of stuff at this point. It looked like such a strong start, but he just ran out of card draw when the Acolyte was dealt with so easily.
Both players are out of stuff. Theo may consider just keeping this in his hand, just so it makes the trade less favorable for Jackie, and he's forced to run into the 4-3 rather than making a value trade. But we're going to be into a game of top decks.
What is this?
It's a pint-sized potion.
Right.
Sorry, mate.
Does that mean there's a Shadow Word Horror in Jackie's deck as well?
I'm at this point where I actually have no idea what's in Jackie's deck, along with the majority of viewers.
For those of you not aware of this combo, Pint-Sized Potion reduces all of your opponent's minions' attack by, I think, 3. Shadow Word Horror gets rid of all minions that have 2 or less attack. So you can use those cards as a combination together to clear whole boards.
It's a nice wombo combo. Also can work well with the other potion if you want to steal one of those minions, and then maybe with something like Divine Spirit in a fire, you can get some sort of damage out. But as I said, we are just going to be relying on draw after draw now. Both hands depleted. Medivh's Valet off the top means that there can be some damage and some form of minion put on the board from Netherlands.
I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Which one?
I could very well be wrong, my left leg.
Okay, great.
I'm going to go out on my left leg here, and I'm going to predict that the Mage has slightly higher value top decks than the Priest. We don't know what's in the Priest, so that's why I see going out on a limb. But unless Jackie picks up Lyra, I imagine the rest of his deck is going to be made up of these kind of janky, cheap spells. We'll see another Priest of the Feast at some point, but that'll be one of the higher value cards.
Yeah.
Whereas the Mage it could have Medivh, it could have Yogg-Saron, it could have Pyros. These are all cards that are going to generate a lot of stuff for him. And even without that, he's going to have a Medivh's Valet on the board, chipping away at the health, and anything else he picks up between now and then.
A lot of the cards for the Priest are combination cards. They work well with others, and when your hand isn't full, you do struggle to get those combos off. Theo valuing the 3 damage from the Medivh's Valet more so than the body, though, and he's not going to play that. There's the second Divine Spirit, but this is just another turn where Jackie is going to pass and just pray that nothing significant is drawn from Theo. And just as that happens, Dan, you were saying there is so much value in this Mage deck, and Medivh could well kill this game off, to be honest.
This is just going to be very hard for Jackie to come back from. Medivh, yeah, just creating a huge presence on the board. Don't forget that Theo has Spellbender and Counterspell both down as well. Going to put a stop to any method that Jackie may have with dealing with it. Even if Jackie tried to bait out the Counterspell first with the Circle of Healing, Shadow of Death would still just be eaten up by Spellbender if Shadow of Death even existed in this hand to begin with.
7 damage at least coming to face every turn. Cabal Lucky, fortunately, is somewhat of a dead draw, but I think the damage may have already been done. Jackie really needs to find something like a Lyra to get back into this game, to be honest, Dan.
Yeah, Lyra and only Lyra, and even then, I believe Lyra will still generate the spells if Counterspell procs, so there's still a possibility for some shenanigans. But that's not Lyra.
Such a horrible position for both Jackie and United Kingdom. I mean, not just in this game, but this series. They lose it 3-0, and they are then down in a rut. And they will be there with Romania, with Thailand, fighting it out for that third-place finish. Netherlands, however, if they manage to win this one, they guarantee themselves through to the second stage.
Yeah, if the UK lose this, which for all intents and purposes, it's looking like they will, we're going to have to sit through that video where Sottle says the UK always wins every single week. Oh, dear.
And this is all Romania needed. Romania just needed the United Kingdom to lose one of their games against either Netherlands or Peru. And it puts Romania in a situation where if they beat Thailand 3-0, they're in a very good spot to potentially qualify for the second stage.
We still get to cast once the UK are eliminated, right?
No, actually, once the United Kingdom is eliminated, we're not allowed to cast whatsoever. Sorry.
Oh dear.
Yeah, sorry, bud. That's why, secretly, I've been crying throughout this entire game. But you're all right, because you're Italian, apparently. So don't worry about it.
Okay, great.
And actually, I'm American, so it's just Lorinda who's not coming back. There are positives of the day after all.
Rip Neil. Well, at least we'll have Neil the Murloc to remember him by, now and forever. Cabal Crystal Runner, just a thing from below in Theo's hand, going to just be a nice presence on the board. Not even needed this turn. Theo would have liked a big spell, like a Firelands Portal or something, just to really put this presence up without wasting too much from the hand. It hasn't happened, but I don't think it matters too much.
No, the fact he can just use Medivh's Valet plus the Elemental to trade in as well, so that he doesn't have to worry about anything. Of course, he can use a ping, and now he can just continue to go face. And Theo's going to be saying, well, how on earth does Jackie get back into this game? Yes, okay, I've not seen much from his deck, but Dan is gone from bad to worse. More spells that are pretty much useless on their own. I mean, he can pint-sized Potion into Potion of Madness, into Divine Spirit, into Inner Fire, but even then, you're not really doing much.
No, potential of 14 damage, right? So wait, so Circle of Healing would get hit by the Counterspell. Pint-sized Potion, nothing. The problem is Potion of Madness would get blocked by the Spellbender, so you end up with a 1-3. You can make that a 6-6 and attack the face with it, but that's it.
Exactly. It's not great. You can't even kill off Medivh. That's the worry.
Jackie needed that Lyra, and Lyra just has neglected to show her face this game. Circle of Healing going to proc the Counterspell. Jackie gonna go with it. Yeah, really raised his eyebrows there, was not expecting to see the Spellbender.
As you said, he gets the 1-3. I mean, are you just... I guess what's the point? You're trying to delay this game as long as possible is the point. You could just use the Inner Fire if you're going down that route. But it looks like he's hoping for maybe a second point-sized potion, but has he already used one, I think, earlier on? Either way, Jackie's trying to do what he can to keep this game alive, but he knows, and I think we know, and I think the rest of the world knows, that Netherlands are in touching distance of that second stage.
This game is just going to show why Counterspell is actually my favorite secret that goes into the secret mages. It's hard to argue the fact that Ice Block is just flat out the best, but Counterspell, if you've already got control of the board, maybe it feels like a win more card, but it's such a solid win more card, preventing your opponent from doing anything to get back in, as Shadow Visions just procs the Counterspell one more time. That's the end of the game. Jackie gonna go ahead, buff Medivh up. It's now a 12-12 that equip the Atiesh, and Jackie waves goodbye as the United Kingdom's chances of qualifying to Phase 2 of the Hearthstone Global Games are diminished. Theo takes the third win, meaning that it's been a fantastic 3-0 victory for Team Team Netherlands.
Yeah, a big hit for the United Kingdom. They'll certainly not be happy about that one, but Romania and RDU are going to be there, rubbing their hands at home saying, oh, we were looking down and out, but now we have our chance. There's been a lot of choice words on Twitter saying, actually, we think you're going to slip up, United Kingdom. We don't think you're going to be able to get those victories. But for Netherlands, they get to move on. There's the classes that were brought by everyone. Jean-Bray, George C, and Jackie Chan all eliminated, absolutely obliterated by Netherlands in very quick fashion, to be honest, Dan.
I know that a lot of Thijs fans are going to be disappointed that he didn't get to play today, but Thijs himself will be quite happy. Green Sheep will be disappointed after his win, wanted to show off his skills, his newfound skills playing control decks. Unfortunately, it was not meant to be. And that wraps up the United Kingdom's journey in the Hearthstone Global Games.
No, not quite. There is still a chance. They can still qualify if they beat Peru and Thailand end up beating Romania by 3-2, for example. UK can still qualify. But let's have a little chat with Theo, I believe, from the Netherlands. Hello, buddy. I mean, that was a pretty quick victory, a very good one. It does put you into phase number 2 as well. Surely you must have been expecting to get there from the get-go, though.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we knew from the start we just had to win one game, and then based on the game score we were through, so we were really happy about after that first game, and then we're just like, yeah, we can just relax a bit and just play the games out.
Okay, Theo, talk me a little bit through that last game, because Jackie's deck obviously isn't the most common priest that we see on the ladder. In fact, I don't really have any idea what it was, but your mage deck was also a little bit different. Tell us where on the mage spectrum it was. Like, what tools did you have in there that we may not expect?
Well, basically only the Medivh was like different from maybe the standard list. Like, we had a pretty fast list. Like, it was really the only late game we had Medivh. Other than that, this was pretty standard, besides maybe the Spellbender.
Yeah, Spellbender, not that common. Medivh, though, coming at the perfect time when sort of the top deck wars were beginning. Medivh just allowed you to stabilize your position and just stomp through the game from there.
Now, in terms of practice for Stage 2 then, are you going to have a little bit of a break, a little bit of relaxation now you finish Stage 1, you can kind of sit back for a couple of weeks, or will you be studying the global games a lot for the remainder of the competition?
Well, I think there's still 2 weeks left for the global games, so we're just, I think we're all just mostly going to watch the games, and then after that going to analyze them and like prepare for our next opponents that way.
No, I'm glad to see that you'll be preparing accordingly, and to be honest, it showed it in your games as well, how well prepared you were. You did just brush the United Kingdom aside. Congratulations on such a good victory. Good luck in the second stage. We'll see you then.
Thank you.
A really good victory, to be honest. I mean, it wasn't just like a close game that they managed to kind of get a 3-2. It was a stomp. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's sad to admit that, given our heritage, but that's Hearthstone for you, and today's been a quick day.
It has been. There's been a lot of 3-0s, a lot of there was what, 4 3-0s and a 3-1?
I don't think we've had a single ace match actually.
No, yeah, I think it's 4 3-0s and a 3-1 or something along those lines. But there was laughter from the United Kingdom from both Jean-Bray and Jackie Chan in their defeats. George may be somewhat frustrated, but I'll give credit to him for trying something a little bit different, not playing his freeze mage. Unfortunately, it just didn't go his way. The series could have been so different if he had been able to get that win. I think he was somewhat favoured in the matchup, but the cards just didn't go his way.
Of course, and as I mentioned earlier, Tyler, probably one of the best players for this matchup that you could dream of if you're Team Netherlands. George looking a little bit grumpy there, but all in all, the UK team, I think, have had a lot of fun in this competition.
They have, but they still potentially can have more fun as well. We'll bring the table up ever so shortly to see where everybody lies. The Netherlands qualify. Now it's down to Thailand, United Kingdom, Romania. Who's going to be left in it? Peru potentially still have a chance as well. Just looking at it, they're 0-3, but they could finish 2-3. That would, of course, solidify the fact that United Kingdom would be out. But definitely a lot of Romanian fans will be extremely happy with that victory from the Netherlands today.
Yeah, still a little ways to go, you're right. And being a little bit too dismissive of the United Kingdom there. Of course, I want to see them do really well. In fact, Dan, I believe you and I have casted 3 out of their 4 games so far.
Actually, well, we shouldn't admit that, because then they're going to say it's our fault. We're the bad luck charm.
We've been following their journey. They won one of the games that we casted, right? I believe that was Romania. They beat Romania.
Okay.
We
Yeah,
interviewed one of the players then, so...
I think it's all about that horse picture disappearing for George C, to be honest. Because they were winning games when that was there.
Burned the horse picture that his grandmother... Was it grandmother? I think
His grandfather, actually painted with his bare hands, and it got burnt. But there is Group B. United States 4-0. Netherlands now up there with them at 4-1. But then this is where it gets interesting. So Thailand 2-2 at game record 9-9. Romania, if they win 3-0 against Thailand, they'll put themselves on 9-9, and it will put Thailand down to 9-12, which means Romania, they'll outvalue Thailand in the tiebreaker. United Kingdom, if they beat Peru 3-0, they're at 7-10. So this is going to be a really awkward spot for United Kingdom, actually. Potentially, they could be out. I won't do the maths just yet,
but
but
it's disappointing when you look at the game record, because they've only actually won 4 games, which means like they won 1 series, so they obviously won all 3 of those games, but then they've played 3 other series. In those 3 series, they won a single game of Hearthstone. So that does not place them well in the tiebreakers. It doesn't improve their chances of getting through to the next round.
It doesn't look good, actually, and now I've seen the game records, I'm thinking that maybe United Kingdom are out of it. I will look and research that a little bit further and probably put something out on Twitter just to confirm, but the players will know. They would have looked into it, but there are all of the results from today. As Dan said, it's been a quick one. We had a 3-0 to Austria, we had a 3-0 to Belgium, Russia taking down Argentina with a 3-1. Italy also proving that they were a dominant force in their group by going 3-1 up, and Netherlands shutting down the hopes of United Kingdom in a swift 3-0 victory.
Yeah, and a pretty vast contrast to the last series that we had yesterday. With a lot of the series today, if you blinked, you probably missed them. This is Hearthstone again at its most versatile right now. Last weekend, the Americas playoffs, we had some long games as everyone playing the control decks. And today, well, it doesn't even matter if you're playing control decks or aggro. If it's going to be a 3-0, it's going to be a fast series.
And there is one game left this week, and that is going to be tomorrow from the American broadcast. Australia versus New Zealand. I mean, there is so much sporting heritage in that game. I'd like to think there's somewhat of a rivalry in Hearthstone as well, Dan.
Yeah, well, there certainly will be tomorrow. Just look at the flags. Even the flags are rivals.
They are. Pretty similar.
Just different number of stars.
But of course, so much on the line, not just for these guys, but the players in general will also want to be qualifying. So not just their region behind them, not just the country behind them, but of course the players will want to make sure that they can get into the second stage.
And as we've seen from some of the other groups today, like the individual games in the group now are having a knock-on effect on the other teams in the groups that aren't even involved, as we reach this point in the Hearthstone Global Games where it looks like tiebreakers really are going to matter. And you've got teams rooting for other teams in their group because they need a different team to lose so that they don't end up with more points than the first team. It's very much like this puzzle that's slotting together, and it's exciting to see it happen.
The puzzle is well and truly forming, but that is all of our games done for the day. But as I said, Australia versus New Zealand is tomorrow night on the American broadcast, and make sure to tune in for that one. From myself, from Dan, Lorinda, and the whole of the production team, have a wonderful night. We'll see you next time.